All right, so we're approaching the end of the chapter for properties of limits and strategies to solve limits. We went over all 5 strategies, did a few examples of each. And I just want to make one final remark, and I'm going to call this the ultimate weapon strategy. It's not listed here, but this is for a worst case scenario. If you get a limit and you don't know how to solve it, none of these strategies are working. Maybe it'll be some kind of ugly limit that you have no idea what to do with. Your ultimate weapon is to you can always just make a table of values for each one-sided limit. You can make a table of values for each side of the limit and see whether the y value is approaching the same value or not. And if it's not approaching the same value, then the limit doesn't exist. If it is approaching the same y value, then it does exist. So if you get stuck on a test, you may not get full marks for just making a table of values and then saying whether the limit exists or not. But you should get some marks. And so for example, like let's say I gave you something crazy like this, like x to the power 1 over 5 minus 3x to the power of 6 plus 7x to the power of 2 over 3 over x minus 5. Alright, so I don't even know what to do here. So you can't do direct substitution because the denominator would be 0. But what you can do is you can make a table of values for each side. So you can make a table of value as x approaches 5. From the left side we could plug in 4.9, 4.99, and then 4.999 into this function. Put in the y values. Then we can make a table of values approaching 5 from the right side, so 5.1, 5.01, and then 5.001, and then see where the y value is approaching there. And if the y values are approaching the same value, then the limit exists. And if they're approaching different values, the limit doesn't exist. My best guess is I'm not going to do this here, but if you were to plug in these x values for this whole expression, my best guess is that the y values would approach different values, so the limit wouldn't exist. Worst comes to worst, if you get a limit, you don't know what strategy to use, no strategy is working, make a table of values for each side of the limit and see what the y value is approaching.